You are now listening to Shoot the Shit with your hosts, Shawnee Caulfield and Sal Licata. Enjoy the show. Woo!
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 20, was it 6 now?
Yeah. Nice start, Shawnee.
I know.
26, whatever.
Yeah, 26. Yeah, I'm right. Of Shawnee and Sal, Shoot the Shit. I am Shawnee Caulfield, your favorite Major Mark's favorite Major Mark, and I am with the bald, handsome Sal Licata of WFAN.
And SNY. Hi.
And SNY. And we have a really, really special guest today. His name is Michael Kanik. It's Kanik, but we all call him Kanik. How you doing today, Kaniki?
Fantastic. So happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me on.
So wait, it's Kanik is the actual pronunciation of your last name?
Yeah, Kanik.
And you don't care that everybody calls you Kanik or Kaniki?
I tried correcting them early on and I just gave up. I'm like, you know what? Kanik is fine. You know what? That means I can still have a 9-to-5 job and no one will know what I do.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So you still have a 9-to-5 job?
I still have a 9-to-5 job.
Wow. I didn't know that. Did you know that, Shawnee?
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah. He knows it's out in the open. Kanik, is it okay if you say where you work?
Yeah.
Or?
I work for a company called Zavvi. They do everything from collectibles to t-shirts, vinyl records, everything. So
you never heard them promote?
Yeah, but I guess I just thought since you've been in business with the boys, and I know they were trying to hire you, right, to go run.
Yeah,
the famous Orlando house.
Is it possible that you could eventually leave to work full time and maybe move to Orlando?
Yeah. Honestly, the goal is to do Major Bendy's full time, the podcast stuff, do a little bit of everything. I've started to help out other wrestlers with their merchandise. I find a lot more joy doing that than doing other stuff, because when you're at a 9-to-5 job, you have a lot of tape that you have to go through, right? You have to get approvals from people. You gotta, it's a whole thing. Here in this universe that that the guys have built, and I'm just a background character, I have a lot more freedom. I can actually express my ideas, and if they suck, Matt always tells me, you're one of the smartest guys I know, but 10% of the time, you're the dumbest. And I'm okay with that. But at least he's listening to my ideas. Other places, they might listen to your ideas 1 out of 10 times.
Yes.
So
it's very true. Yep.
And so it's a freedom. Seeing people at conventions with figures that I've made, that I've shipped out on my own, it's fulfilling, right? So
for sure,
if I could done what I've been doing with a 9-to-5 job, I think if I had that extra time, I could bring Major Bendy's to a whole new level. So that's the end goal. I just you got to figure out the equation of.
I do have a question, Kaniki.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm sorry for interrupting you. But so I was talking with Matt. Matt's made this known very clearly. So I'm currently a completist of Major Bendy's. It's really becoming impossible. And I know Matt has made a statement saying that, hey, we don't expect you to be a completionist. But I feel like it's kind of unfair because, like, he as a collector is mostly a completionist, right? Like, right. So I feel like I know you guys want to make it into a business, and I know you guys have, but do you feel like sometimes it's too much? Like, is there too much? Is there ever too much? Like, I want to hear it from your side, you know?
I think it could be too much, and we try to cut back. That's why Matt the other day texted me saying, "Hey, I know that we said no more repaints of the matte mold,
Yeah.
but I'm out. Can we get more?" And I said, "Absolutely not."
Yep.
So there's things of that nature. There's are we gonna continue doing a matte figure? Of course we are, but we're gonna do a whole new mold. It's gonna be extremely cool. I'm working already with TTD, talking to the factory about new things that we can do to the figures to make it unique, but still keep that bendy form. So yes, I think you could be. I think that it could be too much, but we're cutting back on that. We're limiting the amount produced. Um, we're we're limiting the amount produced, but we're also adding more.
Got it. Yeah,
So,
because
so
Matt said
there will be more figures.
Yeah, there's gonna be like 45 this year, I think, at the end of the year, around there, right, Kaneki?
I mean, we did about 40 last year, and we'll probably do about the same, maybe even more. I have an iPad, my laptop, and my phone all synced to multiple platforms to keep everything organized. So
Yeah.
that way, TTD, Matt, Brian, the factory, we all know what's going on. The 3D designer that I have,
That's awesome.
we all know what's going on. Keep everything organized. That way, you know, I sign the X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z goes into this platform for TTD to see, okay, I have to now do X drawing. He does X drawing, he drops it in. 3D designer then sees X drawing is completed. He can go in, start doing the 3D design. TTD is now doing Y, and it's just
And then it's like
mainstream
a
that way.
circle. You got it.
It's
Got
just
it.
constantly. And then
Fascinating.
I take that, I throw it in, I send it to China. I go, okay, here's the 3D design, here's the art file. Send me a sample. I usually get the samples created within a week. And they ship that to me. That takes about like another week. Sometimes they'll do a 2-night express, so I might have it sooner. And then that's just I approve that, and then they'll start making the mold, and then from the mold it goes into production. Production, it gets shipped to me. That if I do air, it takes about a week and a half. I just got a shipment today from UPS, which was air. But if I do C, which I normally do because it's a lot cheaper, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks now. Before, during the pandemic, it was like
Oh man.
you
What was
never
the
know when it's
longest?
coming.
What was the longest you waited, Kanik?
2 months, and it was just sitting at the dock. No one was taking it.
So wait a second. How the fuck do you find the time when you have a 9 to 5 job to do all this? Because I don't know Matt obviously to the level that you do, but I know he can be a
Yeah.
pain in the ass and he can be on top of you every second of every day. Like
Yeah.
you're running a legit business here with the
Yeah.
boys. You're trying to obviously it's not even side hustle. Like it's hopefully going to be your career. Eventually, I do think it's
Yeah.
going to be the case. But how do you find time with a 9 to 5 job to do all this?
I'm very weird. I don't sleep. I probably sleep 2 or 3 hours at night, and then I'm just going.
That is like
So,
insane. That's
Weekends
insane.
as well. Like you're doing all this stuff on the weekends, or
yep. So, like on the
Dude,
weekends, I just like
that's
because I
like
still
that's how much I nap during the day.
on the weekends because I still try to keep a social life, and like I'll text Matt. I'm like, I'm out. Don't text me. Like, don't bother me.
But
Um,
he respects it, right? Like that's
no, he'll still continue going, and I'll end up reading it. No, it's fine. I enjoy doing it, so it's not work to me.
Yes, I know how you
Right. The,
feel.
the problem is your actual job. But I'm just saying,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
it's very hard if you're being pulled in all these different directions with a 9 to 5 job. It's got to be challenging.
There's some times that you're just like you're burnt out.
Yep.
Mainly, like I did Tyrus, then I did Series 3 shipping, and then I did the major pod stuff because I also do the live shows. Um, and then it was just a lot of stuff going on at my job because my job at that time was Black Fridays, the holidays, so that's like the busiest time.
Sales. Yep.
You feel a little burnt out at times, but then you get a notification on your phone saying someone tagged you on a photo because they received the figure and they're just happy and the sending all these positive comments and they're like an adrenaline hit,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And you
I
just keep
haven't
on
seen.
going.
I listen. I love Major Bendies. You can't find me saying a bad thing about the Bendies, and they are what they are. I think some people expect them to be like this magnificent figure, but for what they are, they're perfect. They're perfect for what they are, and that's it. They're Bendies, right? They're made to be
But
a bendy, right? And they look so awesome. Like I have all mine in box, but the people that have them out, I think Billy Peck is one of them that has them out of the box. They look so cool standing together like that. And
yeah, I mean, I have them right here.
yeah. Oh yeah, you have them
Um
out of box too. Yeah. There
I
you
have them
go.
out of the box here, and then I have a wall
Can you
of
show that to Sal? He's trying to look at it. I see his eyes.
Yeah. I don't think I've
That
seen them loose before. I have a few myself, but I've kept them in the package.
yeah, I mean, in the packaging, it's great. TT does a great job on the packaging, especially if you get one of those like exclusives. I just got the FE WrestleCon in today, and it's just so cool because it's like the rainbow packaging with the barbed wire, and FE's all bloodied up.
I saw the
The actual
picture.
figure. So
Yep.
everything he does is great. The Mets one,
That was
the
unreal. That was unreal. I have it. I have it right here, actually. Yeah.
I love that one. That's
that
easy.
one's so cool. The Matt,
TTD is on another level, really.
yeah,
That's
I
a
told
great
him.
fucking figure.
Matt and I always joke saying that we have to clone him because we keep on giving him too
Yes.
much.
Yep.
And he still has his 9 to 5 job too.
Yep. Which
What?
is crazy. Which is
Yeah.
crazy. I
He
asked him to
has,
do a job for me once, like, and I was gonna pay him everything, and he's like, "Shawn, I'm sorry, like, I just
yeah,
can't. I can't even take all the jobs that I'm getting from pro wrestlers, you know."
yeah.
So, but I just thankfully Bo is talented, and I consider Bo to be on, maybe not on the same level, but he's definitely up there with TTD. But they're two different things. Like TTD is
Right.
an illustrator, Bo's a designer, so
But
there's only so much he could do. But
So yeah, and they both do great work. And TDD is just like you said, he's been amazing from start.
mhm.
Imagine where the group would be, or the podcast would be without him. You
yep.
can't think about. I have
And
so
same
many
thing goes
questions
for
here.
you. Yeah.
I have
Oh.
so many. Yeah, right. You're exactly right. I have so many questions here. Number
Yeah.
one, who decides what talent you're going to go after?
So there's a chat between Matt, Brian, TTD, and myself, and we kind of just throw names into the bucket, right? We just throw names in the messenger, and we see if it's possible to sign these people because a lot of people have contracts with other organizations that prevents them from having a figure through an independent company. So we go that route.
So, like, let's just say Hacksaw, for example, because I know nothing about it, so I know you're going to educate us on it. Let's say Hacksaw, for example. You guys are talking about, you're like, hey, you know what? He never had a bendy figure with him. Could be cool because we could do the blue pants, blue trunks, and then do
Oh,
that. Yeah. All right. So you come up with Hacksaw. Then you have to now find him and reach out to him and see if he's got a contract with Mattel or anybody else.
Correct. So I think Matt actually So I'm lucky in the aspect that Matt and Brian are
They have so
obviously
many connections. Yeah.
they're partners in um Major Bendy's. So I'm lucky that Matt and Brian are partners in Major Bendy's, and they've been in the business for a very long time. They go to all these conventions. They know everyone. So I believe what happened with Hacksaw was Matt was at a convention with Hacksaw. Hacksaw had mentioned something about the Major Bendy's on Matt's table. Matt said, it's his company and we could do something. Um, and Hacksaw said, yeah, I don't have a Legends deal. So let's do something.
Wow.
I think that's how it went. I'm not 100% sure. But I ended up in touch with his wife, spoke to her, sent her a contract. Hacksaw signed it, and we're up and ready to go.
This
Now,
is a.
okay,
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Sal. Go ahead, Sal.
Well, I was just going to say, so now, let's just say Zombie or whoever comes to Hacksaw and says, hey, I want to make, Mitch, hey, I want to make a retro figure of you. Can he or they legally do that, or is it exclusive just to you guys?
We don't do exclusive contracts because one, it's not fair to the talent. And it's just
What if it were a different Bendy company then? What if it was somebody that was
so
actually?
so we have an exclusive contract for rubber style figures.
See,
You can't do a
that's
rubber
smart.
style
Good
figure.
question, Sal. That's a great question.
You are free to go and do whatever you want after that. Like, if you want to sign with Zombie, go sign with Zombie.
As long as it's not a rubber toy.
Exactly. As long as it's
Got it.
not a rubber style figure.
Right, a
So
competitor. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if Hacksaw signs back with the WWE, I'm locked in with him for a contract for 2 years.
So even if he goes back there, you still have him under contract.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Right. So not that they were gonna, give Bendy figures, but they couldn't, or he couldn't have his in that event.
Right. So I can still produce Hacksaw figures if he signs back with the WWE because I have a contract that predates their contract.
Right.
That will allow us to continue making Major Bendy's.
If I'm not wrong, Danhausen was the same deal, right?
Correct.
You guys signed him first, then he signed to AEW.
Yeah. So we signed him, I believe, when he got injured.
Yes.
And it was like a weird time for Ring of Honor, because they were like doing some shows, not really, like during the pandemic. So we signed him, and we have zero problems with making Danhausen figures because we have the contract.
That's awesome.
So, and the same thing goes for Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano went back to the WWE. We're still able to
That's
produce
true.
figures.
I forgot about that too. Yeah.
And then we have the Good Brothers coming out in April.
And they went back too. Okay. Yeah. And Chelsea.
Yep, Chelsea.
Now, I'm assuming that helps you tremendously when they go back and get that kind of notoriety and publicity. It should help.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no.
How would it hurt?
Most people will say, I'll get the Elite figure because they know. They're not doing as many signings, so
people want it signed. Okay, that makes sense.
People want it signed. But then there's those people who are like who genuinely just want to collect them all, or really like that one person, and they buy it. Like, if someone has a Johnny Gargano collection, they go and buy all the Johnny Gargano figures available.
So do you think it's better to have somebody who doesn't have a figure? Is that beneficial to you?
I think so. Effie, I got a lot of people saying Effie wasn't going to do well. Effie's doing great.
Effie's the man. I mean, who would think that he would not do well? He's so toyetic.
Well, somebody like me who I don't follow independent.
Right.
He's
true.
I don't do the indie, so I don't really know who he is other than the pod. But
But
obviously there's a big following with the pod, so I get that. But like, I wouldn't personally, he wouldn't be in my wheelhouse necessarily. So I could see how
Yeah.
people would be skeptical. But he's saying one of the bigger sellers.
Yeah, he's huge on the indies.
yeah, yeah. So
He's
actually,
daddy.
we were we were we were the first people to produce a Danhausen figure. So I mean, he did great, but Danhausen's Danhausen, right? He prints
Yep.
money.
Yep. But
Um,
Tyrus was the best selling one, right?
yeah, so Tyrus was a unique situation. I actually didn't think he was going to do that well. But Tyrus
Where's my
Ty
Tyrus Bendy?
Tyrus went on Fox, promoted it on his show, and you know that I didn't know at the time, but that show is one of the highest rating shows on television today.
Wow.
So it averages over 2 million viewers every time it's on, which
Wow.
is insane numbers for television today.
Kanik, should we give him the breaking news? Should we let him know what Sal said that he will promote it on SNY if you make a Shawnee Speedo bend?
Yeah. I could promote it on the radio. I can't promote it on TV. What is the Kanik, what is the biggest risk for you personally in running this whole business? Is there risk? Are the boys taking the risk if a figure doesn't sell? What's the biggest risk for you?
I mean, so I take care of all the inventory in my house. So I have boxes all in my attic, in my basement. I have stuff in my closet. So I take on all the inventory. Um, you know, if if something doesn't make money, I don't make money,
Right.
right? So it's my time. I'm risking my time,
Right.
my physical labor, um, my mental health. Working out on the podcast. I
There
get
it is,
anxiety.
Kanik. All right, now you're starting to open it up.
Yes.
Broski abuses you. I know it. Make sure you take care of that mental health.
I normally drink. That's the issue. Today I'm not.
What is it? What do you call when the parents are abusing the kids? That's what we got to call on Broski.
No, but you're investing a lot. All right, maybe they are the financial backers, but you're investing your
Yeah.
life, your time, your energy,
sure.
your passion, and all that stuff into it. So, and I do think people buy just to support you because you're a good dude. And
I agree.
Complete his lines. I know Shawnee is one of those people that you want to be complete to support the pod and Kanik himself. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great.
I don't know if I'm a good person, but thank you.
I think it's different between being a good like you are a good person, but I mean like I think in general that like I respect the hustle, like where you started as someone like, you know, anybody listening right now, you know?
Yeah.
So like to me, like if that doesn't show you that there's opportunities out there, as long as you show what you're worth, then I don't know what else does. And I think it's really inspiring, you know, and that's why I've always respected you, because I know what it's like to go from a W-2 job to counting on yourself and being commission only, right? So
Right.
that's a big deal. Like when you lose your check and I know you haven't really gone off yet, but when you lose that check, you're like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to live? So you got to hustle. And that's what happens, but it's good. You know, if you decide to leave your job, at least you have this flowing already, and, you know, you're stable no matter what, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I started as just a listener to the podcast, you know, when it first came out. I knew that Matt was a big collector. At the time, I didn't know that Brian was a collector. But then I, you know, listened to the episode and just continued on. I was working for a Fortune 500 marketing agency. My main client was one of the top, let's say top 3 pharmaceutical companies, and that was just my one client. I had to take care of this multi-million-dollar deal. And I was miserable. I was making great money. I had made my own hours. I was working in the news building by Grand Central. But I was miserable and I was bored. My job to me wasn't challenging. And I was listening to the podcast and it just like, it snapped in my head because I've been in the collectibles business for so long, but I haven't really had a real job in the collectibles business. And I went on LinkedIn, typed in toys in the job openings, found this one place, applied, had a job interview the next day, went in, um, did my whole thing, and they're like, "What's a license that you think that we should obtain?" And I said the WWE. And the guy just started laughing at me. He says, "We just obtained the WWE license." He's like,
Wow.
"Are you a wrestling fan?" I go, "Yeah." Um, I ended up getting the job. I was the brand manager and CRM manager for Eagle Moss.
Yep. They make
And
statues.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I had bought a T-shirt through Pro Wrestling Tees. The guys called, they were doing that
Oh,
promotion where
yes, the
you
promotion where they call you. Yes, yes,
to
yes.
thank you, and they called, and I said, "No, thank you guys, because you guys kind of inspired me to like quit my nice paying cushy job and go into the collectible business." And that's how I kind of
Who
really,
was it that called you?
it was Matt and Brian.
Oh, it was both of
Uh,
them?
yeah. And from that conversation, Matt started following me on Instagram, and he had casually mentioned he he was looking for foam fingers or pop sockets. I forgot what was the first item. And I used to make promotional items at a previous job, stuff for like New York Jets, the Yankees, Mets, just like, and then like Chase Bank and Capital One and all that stuff.
Yep,
So
yep.
I had experience doing all this stuff. Um, and I said, I could get you foam figures or pop sockets. I forgot what it was. And in 2 weeks, he had the items at his doorstep. And that's kind of how I became the merch guy. And then
Yeah,
it
that's
just
awesome, man.
evolved.
I have one more for you, Kanik.
Yeah.
I mean, I could honestly, we probably could
We
talk to
got
you
10
for
more minutes. 10 more
Yeah.
10 more minutes,
Yeah.
Al.
I have at least one more here. And this has been a big thing in the group, the shit between Zombie and Mitch and now Shawn, who we're going to talk to coming up in a little bit. As a businessman yourself, obviously somebody who's having success in doing this, you see all this stuff, the chaos, you see the wrongdoings of some. What advice or what do you see that's being done wrong by some of these companies in the way that they operate? What could you advise to them to do better than the way that they're doing it to where it's just become chaos?
One thing I think is everyone should stay quiet. Um, the back and forth bickering between companies is childish to me. Um, Stay quiet, stay humble, let your work
Speak for itself.
speak for itself. And I think that's kind of what I've been doing. Um, I'm not saying, I'm
Right.
leading the charge. No, just stay quiet, be humble, let your work speak for itself, and um, that's it, really. You know, I think
Well,
there's
what about the fact that, like you said it before, about having Hacksaw exclusively for, or whoever you sign exclusively for the little rubber figures? Well, you have now at least two companies putting out the same fucking guys. So clearly there was a miscommunication there somehow with the contract. No, I mean, I don't know. You can educate me to that maybe.
We're not
I
we don't
have
want you to say anything bad, Kanik.
no, no,
We
no,
just
no,
want to
yeah.
explain it.
I have my own theories of what happened. Either someone didn't do their due diligence, um, didn't hire a lawyer to write up the contract, or there is no contract.
We,
Um,
we, yeah, we talked about that. We
Yeah.
did. I'm not going to go further than that, but yes, we did talk about that. Yes.
um, I think it's publicly known. Major Bendy's hires Dawkins, right? Dawkins is our lawyer.
Yeah, I've
Um,
said it before. I'm fucking 10-0 against Dawkins, baby. Me.
Dawkins wrote up our contract. So
Can
And
you
it's
tell
helpful.
us like what goes into that contract before? But we have about 8 more minutes.
Yeah. I have it up on my screen right now, a contract that I
Awesome.
sent to a wrestler. Um, First thing is they agree that they are the person who they say they are,
Yep.
as in I am Matt Cardona, right? But I'm also Zack Ryder,
Got it.
right?
So real name compared to gimmick name.
Yep. That they own the rights to it. They own the likeness. Likeness is very important. Trademark is very important.
Yep.
Those two things will keep on being repeated throughout the contract because it is referring to other things throughout. So I am the licensor. The licensor owns the trademark and the likeness. The licensor agrees to X, Y, and Z. The licensor agrees so and so. The licensor is promised X amount of royalty.
Got it.
The licensor is to receive royalty at X date. If not, this is the fee, right? Like I saw Zombie post earlier today that he's paid out a crap ton of money in royalty fees, and I laughed and I was like, I kind of want to calculate how much I've paid out, but I also don't want to.
Yeah, it's gonna be you're gonna be happy and sick at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to look at how much I spent on boxes. I just put an order
Oh, man.
yesterday for flat boxes. It was close to $1,600. And I I sent it to Matt and I go, I don't think this is even gonna last us 2 months.
Bro,
You
shipping is
do,
so brutal now. It's
yeah,
so brutal.
you do all the shipping yourself, packing and
Yeah.
shipping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all by myself.
Now,
So
Kanik, can you explain the difference between a license, and like a trademark? Like, can you explain the difference of that? Like for somebody, I don't know. You know what? I don't really know too much.
I can't. I took 2 years of law in college, and I was drunk most of the time, and I didn't even go to class. But don't got an A, so I can give you
Well,
some.
in layman terms, right? In layman terms.
So the trademark won't cover the likeness because the trademark is for, unless they trademark their actual facial features that can be trademarked. So I think, like for example, Danhausen. Danhausen is very notable for his makeup. He can trademark that, but the likeness is something different in its own universe.
Got it.
So
Got it.
you own your likeness unless you agree to someone that they can have your likeness.
What if it's a character that wears a mask?
So if it's on TV, depending on the contracts that are made, that is owned by the person who published the the program.
Okay.
So let's say someone wears a mask and they go on WWE. Let's say Doink the Clown.
Vince
Right? He's
owns
not
it?
really a mask. Vince owns Doink the Clown.
Got it.
No one can make a Doink the Clown figure. Like that is super illegal.
Got it.
WWE owns that.
While they're on, what if it was like they were on, but now they're no longer on? Then it's fair game.
Because that is owned property by the WWE.
Right.
Because
So
it's a
let's
character
just
that they created.
let's just say, like, I'll throw out an old tag team that I used to like from the 80s, a couple of jobbers, like the Conquistadors, for example. If they happen to be out there and somebody was to make a figure, because they were on WWF TV back in the day, their trademark or whatever is owned by WWE?
I believe so, because those are characters that the WWE created.
But isn't there, like, I'm just curious.
That's my opinion. I'm not 100% sure.
You're not sure.
I'm sure there's going to be there could be, Dawkins could be watching this right now and he's going to say, no, don't listen to Kanik.
Okay.
He's always drunk.
Yeah, maybe we could have Dawkins on next week or something. Maybe
Okay.
that would be good.
Yeah,
but
and I'm gonna get back my fucking the most expensive free
most
podcast
expensive
ever.
free podcast ever.
That shit was
Exactly.
fun.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have it on record, so I don't care what kind of contract you guys.
That's
are
it. We're going.
That shit was mine,
That's it.
Kanik.
We're getting my cousin Vinny, baby. But Kanik, thank you for coming on with us, man. We appreciate
No
you.
problem. Thank you, guys.
We love you, and we're always going to support you. And thanks for coming on and explaining that to us, man.
Thank you, guys.
Anything you want to promo before you leave?
You can follow Major Bendies on Instagram. Follow Major Pod on Instagram. And Twitter. You can follow me, Kanik89. That's throughout all social platforms. MajorPodMerch.com is where you can get Major Bendies. We have Hacksaw Jim Duggan up for pre-order right now. 1 in 3 chances of getting a chase that's based off of the original LJN figure.
Yep.
And that's a 2-week pre-order. So whatever is ordered is what gets made.
Yep.
And then that's it.
Yep.
Wow, that's it. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Well,
I'm gonna have
thanks
to
for
jump
coming
on
on, brother. We really appreciate it, and we hope you have a great night, Mike.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Kanik.
Later, man.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love you too, man. Hey, everybody. This is part 2 of episode 26 of Shawnee and Sal Shoot the Shit. I am your favorite Major Mark, Shawnee Caulfield. I am here with Sal Licata.
Just me. And no.
Just Sal.
Yeah. And we're here with a special guest.
And we're here with Shawn. How do you pronounce your last name, Shawn? Ing?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, got it. And we're excited to have you on, Shawn.
Thank you for having me.
I've been in communication with you for almost 2 years now, at least a year and a half, you know. Yeah. And this is the first time that we're really talking, you know, which is nice. Right. But man, I'm gonna start off really positive because I that Kamala figure is absolutely unbelievable, Shawn.
You know what? Here's the thing. I mean, I go on every podcast, and every single time everyone mentioned the Kamala, you know, in terms of sculpting and everything, I always give credit to the team. So Jordan and Daniel, they, you know, without them, you know, this wouldn't exist. I mean, you know, sure, you know, I gave the okay of how it looks and everything, but, you know, if anything was really their work.
What is
figure?
So
the figure looks sick.
Yeah, the figure is unbelievable. Even the all of them look great. The conquistadors, they all look great. Shawn, what is Jordan and I forgot the other person's name, but what are their jobs? Daniel. I'm sorry.
Well, Daniel is the sculptor, and Jordan is the one that prints and paint them up.
So they're all hand painted, every single one of them.
Well, the prototypes are hand painted right now.
Got it. Yeah, got it.
But then, you know, we still, you know, if there's anything with the factory, is that, you know, if you take something to the factory, you know, you give a design to the factory, and you know, the factory can't have a million ways to mess things up. So, you know, I didn't want that to happen. So I had Jordan to go. You know, I told Jordan, look, let's print these out first, paint them up first, and, you know, then I can take them to the factory and say to the factory, look, you know, this is exactly how I want it to look.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Then that way, you know, there wouldn't be any confusion and things like that. Because a lot of times, you know, especially when I say certain things, sometimes it gets, you know,
it gets turned. It gets
right. It gets, you know, and it gets misunderstood at times as well.
Yes. So yeah. I can feel you there because I've been misunderstood many times in my life.
Right.
And I mean, Sal knows this. You know, like people misunderstand me all the time, and it's never to be harmful. It's just sometimes I'm too upfront, or I may say something that may not be okay in another state, but I'm from New York, and that's how we joke around, you know, like, so right. obviously this whole thing is going on.
Shawnee, just before you get into that detail, I just want to say,
Go ahead.
Shawn, you should say what company. Obviously, if you're not familiar
Oh,
with
yes.
So Shawn runs a company. You own the company. I'm assuming that's in
Right.
competition with other Hasbro style figures. Give us the name of the company,
Right.
what your goal is, things like that.
Okay. My company is KWK Branding Company Limited. Our line is the KWK Kayfabe Heroes. Right now we have several wrestlers on contract, and obviously, this thing that happened, which I'm sure we'll get to in a minute. At this point in time, because we have multiple contracts signed with wrestlers already, and there are others that I'm pursuing. So that's what it is, and the plan is to really is to make sure, to me, is this, I want to make something that reminisce the 90s style. I'm not even gonna say Hasbro, because
Okay.
it's not really Hasbro.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of reminisce that style, but bringing a certain new elements to it. For example, the scaling, the realistic look.
Yep.
Things like that.
Yeah, like the thing with the arch in the back with Kamala, like those
Right.
little details make such a big difference to the real life looks of it,
Right. And again, that really has to go to Daniel. He thought of this. I mean, I gave the idea.
Yep.
I gave the idea and go, this is the look that I want to go for. This look I'm going for. This is the look that I'm going for. See if you can do it.
I got a belly, so I know there's that little arch back there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I'm going, what, 43 this year, and I'm starting to getting some belly now too. So I mean, my face is getting fatter, and it's just the way it is. I mean, I miss my abs.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
before the pandemic, right? I was in the gym like 7 days a week.
Yep.
And then the pandemic happened. 3 years down the line, I have not even touched a dumbbell.
So that's so Shawn, let me get to this before we get to what happened. So
Right.
China, you live in China, right? Were you born and raised in China, or?
No, I wasn't born and raised in China. I was born in Hong Kong.
Oh, in Hong Kong. Okay, got it.
But because eventually I moved to the mainland China in late 2010.
Got it.
So there are people that migrated overseas. I went from being in Hong Kong, went overseas, and migrated back into the mainland.
The mainland, which is like
yeah,
a city, right? Like, which is like a.
No, the mainland itself, the entire China itself, we call it mainland. Mainland
okay.
China.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And I moved to northern China because I like the cold.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like the cold too.
I mean, I'm telling you, the first time that I moved to northern China, I got off the plane. I was like, wow, this is just like Boston.
Yeah.
So yeah. I was like, wow, this is just like Boston. Great, except for the dirty air at the time, but
Yep.
Now, Shawn, how new is the business? How long you been at it here trying to make these figures?
Well, okay. The initial plan that I had was actually in the beginning of 2020.
Okay.
When I began to think about, doing the line and working the line. And I was in Japan at the time, and I was, hanging out with one of the wrestlers that I have been friends with for years. And I've said, I said, maybe I should start working on a toy line. And he was just like, he was so laid back about it. He was like, yeah, go do it. And, he, at the time there was a convention in Tokyo called TokyoCon, and I met Yoshitatsu there for the first time, and somehow we just hit it off right away, and we just started talking business, and at the time the company wasn't even formed yet, but I already had the company name in my head, so I drafted up the contract and I go, here you go, and he signed. At the time, I didn't even think of what line I was going to do. Initially, my thought process was, why not go with the character product figures? And then I started talking with some of the collectors, and they said, look, it's not going to sustain. There's no way character product figures is going to sustain in the current market. It just won't work, because the style, the people within it, in terms of the character product community, is just not big enough. So that I abandoned the whole idea, and came around May 2020. Now, we were on lockdown at the time, so I was shopping a lot online, and somehow one of the collateral of the Sindart factory, which made Hasbro figures,
Okay.
they had a whole bunch of samples. I mean, I think, Shawnee, you know this. I think I told you about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had told me about your line before, way before it even came to fruition. You know.
You lose him?
So, Sal, just so you know, Yoshitatsu, he was in the WWE. He's in All Japan now.
Okay.
Right.
And that's the first figure that's going to be out, or that's the first guy that you signed?
Well, he was the first guy that I signed, because we hit off so well, and he was saying, "Oh, you know any Chinese companies that was running shows and whatnot?" And at the time, because COVID wasn't really a thing yet, we heard about something, but it wasn't like hitting big at the time. And I was like, yeah, sure, So went back to the hotel, got everything, had him sign, like within the day. So so that was pretty quick. On top of that, running over to Tokyo Dome to watch Wrestle Kingdom at the time. So it was like everything happened at the same time.
Yeah, that's
cool.
It was crazy. But so moving forward to May, and the whole Sindot factory, that there was a collateral with 43 Hasbro samples, and I ended up buying all of it, because initially I was told there was 200, and I was thinking, man, 200 samples, Hasbro samples, that's like crazy, right?
Yeah, it's like striking gold. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And and I was thinking, well, you know what? If there's 200, let's see what the guys got first. The guy was like, oh, we found 43 for now. So I said, well, it doesn't matter. I'll take the 43. And then once I bought them, and later on, he said, oh, there wasn't really 200. There was just these 43. And I said, what happened to the others? And I was told that they actually weren't Hasbro. So, and I was just like, man, I was thinking, well, 200 Hasbro samples, like,
you got your hopes up.
I could only nitpick, like, ooh, this one I want, that one I want, right? But obviously I shared the well, and I end up keeping 11 of them. In fact, they're here. They're like right.
Can you show us one of them, or you can't take? Can you take them down and show us, or no?
Yeah, sure. Let me just get one down.
Sal is a huge Hasbro mark, Shawn.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Let me get these two. Yeah. I put them in my big protectors as well.
I told you, Shawn's collection is insane, Sal.
Okay.
Well, yes,
now,
right.
Now these are.
This is the Bear Hug Hulk Hogan, right? With the SummerSlam sticker.
Okay.
But if you look at the back, it's a green tag.
Holy shit!
Yeah, when I looked at that, that was the first one that I saw from the pile, and I went absolutely bonkers.
Wow!
And then there's this one, which I call the pre-green tag, which is an engineering sample. And if you, I don't know if you guys can see it from here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes, I can see it. Yep.
Yeah, that's before the green tag. Like before they slapped the green tag sticker or whatever, that's what they got. And this one is all taped on it. So, again, highly interesting. And then
That is insane.
For that was from a separate, that other one that I'm going to show you guys now is from a separate lot that I found from a seller last year. Let me take that down. You guys,
That is incredible stuff right there. Imagine Shawnee stumbled across 43 of those.
No, and he's in, like, you got to remember, he's where the factories are,
Right. No.
Okay.
That's insane.
See this? This is the black elbow pad version of the Bret Hart.
I've seen people make customs like this. Yes.
So I don't.
Yeah.
Is that, and that was released here? I didn't even know about this.
No, that wasn't released. The one that was released was actually in pink elbows.
Pink elbow pads. Yes.
Okay.
Now, if you have a look at the back here, you see the sticker line?
Yeah.
Yes.
This was supposedly a green tag. But because of whatever happened, the sticker was gone.
Green tag.
Oh, the green tag fell off. Got it.
Yeah, the tag fell off, and the seller didn't have it. The seller didn't know what he had, so and
oh my
it was
God.
one of those. It was one of those deals. Like in the morning, in the morning I always check my message first. First thing, I just woke up, sleepy eyes and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, someone has a Hasbro here. And I wasn't even thinking it was a black elbow pad or whatever. It didn't even hit me.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh, you know what? I need a mint on card because, I was planning on replacing this one.
Right.
Got it.
And I didn't think much of it. And I was like thinking, well, you know what? Might as well get it since they have it in China now. Right. So I was just like, okay, fine, I'll take it. And I think it was like about half an hour, 45 minutes or something. And then suddenly hit me. Like, you know how you're all sleepy and stuff like that, and you didn't, like,
yep.
think
and
much.
Then you just snap out of it?
And then you just snapped out of it, and you're just like, what? So I gave the gigantic holy shit, and my wife was sleeping. And she just sat up and just looked at me, like how the Undertaker sat up.
Yes, yeah.
She sat up, looked at me. She was like this, and she was just like, "What the hell's going on?" Right? And I said, "I think I just found one of the rarest gem in Hasbro ever." And
what is that worth right now? You think you have an estimate? You have an idea?
I had the biggest offer I've had for that one is 30 grand.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You fucking believe that?
That is unbelievable.
And it's probably worth more, right?
It is. It is probably worth more.
I don't know if it's worth more, but that's the biggest offer that I got right now. But man, I can't let that one go.
Yeah, it's hard.
30 grand? Are you insane? Let that shit go. Make a custom for
you know what?
$100.
A lot of people have been telling me. A lot of people have been telling me and go, let it go, man. It's 30 grand. I'm like, you know what? It's not like I really need that money.
Yeah. You'll never find one of them again, you know?
But do you really need that figure? I mean, think about it. Well, God forbid. I mean, you hang on to it forever, and then.
But Shawn is not the type of like come buy, come go collector. Like Shawn has had pieces in his collection for how long, Right. So like he sells stuff, yes, but his main collection, Shawn, I know that you won't sell some stuff,
Right.
So I get it. The sentimental value of that figure is worth. You don't need that money right now.
I don't need that money, and and it's just like I mean my business is it's my other business on the side. I'm doing okay with that, so I don't really need the money, quote unquote, need the
Right,
money.
I got it.
Yes.
So for me to like, really let this go. I'm sorry.
What
I can't.
a
I
beautiful
really
piece.
can't.
That
It's
is
just one of those things. If you sell it, you're never gonna get another one.
Right,
You know?
exactly. And I know there are a couple of guys out there that has it. I mean, if you tell them that if they will sell it, their answer is going to be the same as mine, which
Yep.
is no.
How many
So,
do we know how many are out there? Same thing.
Mint on card.
Yeah.
For mint on card, as far as I know, I think there are 2 or 3.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
And
there may be.
it was never released. We don't know. So there might be some loosies out there, but it was obviously never released.
There are a couple of loose out there.
Okay.
There are a couple of loose out there, but mint on card, I think there are 2 or 3.
That's
Insane.
insane.
That is,
Yeah.
I didn't even know it existed, and I never heard of it.
Yeah.
I don't remember them.
So
Yeah.
so that's also one reason why that to me is that there have been a whole bunch of people, once they found out how much people were offering, just sell it. You're not going to find another seller that buyer that's willing to pay that.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and I go, look, I really want to keep this. It's not like I desperately need to sell it, and if I do need the money, that's not going to be the first thing
you sell. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yep.
I mean, there are a whole pile of other stuff that I can get rid of before this.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
And
sure.
it will be crazy. Like one day I may suddenly just fall from the wrong side of the bed and just go, you know what? Let's put this up at my store.
Right.
And put it up for 40 grand and see who bites.
Right.
Yep.
But
yep.
but for me, I just don't see the need of that.
If somebody came to you, if I were like, you know what, fuck it, Shawn, I want that figure, I'll give you 50 grand right now. Is there a number that you would sell it for, or no, not right now?
I'll consider 50.
Right.
I'll say this, I'll consider 50, but I can't guarantee that I will sell.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's
can
tough
guarantee that I'll
because,
sell,
like, if you
because
do sell, even if you get that money, I just have a feeling that you would regret it. Kind of.
Right, exactly. It's
Yeah.
that feeling, and not only that, it's like I said, do I really need to sell it?
Yeah.
I mean, I have this the repaint version of the Macho Man with the Macho King, right? The
Yes.
repaint version of the Macho King. That was the Macho Man, which was, I think it was series 4 or series 5.
I thought it was 3, but anyway, who's counting?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I had that's right, series 3. I had the I had the green tag of that.
Okay.
And one of the collectors in Australia had been pursuing it for, I would say, for about a year and a half. And we eventually became pretty close, and he kept asking and kept asking and kept asking. Eventually, and I'll be straight and honest, if he's listening, he was offering me a deal for it, a good deal for it. Even though I didn't really want to, but back in my head I was thinking, you know what? If it goes to his collection, it's going to be a really good collection.
Cherished. Yes.
Because he has the entire series 3.
Got it.
In green tag. So I was thinking, okay, fine. You know what? You want it? Take it. That's just something that I will do. But at the same time, I mean, if someone will come to me and go, hey, you know what? I really want this Bret Hart, and I'm offering you 50. And I will probably say, probably not.
Got it. So,
yeah.
Shawn, thank you for showing us those figs. We want to get into the stuff that's going on with that Cardona had so the major pod gets released on Friday to the public, but obviously to the Patreons it gets released on Tuesday, right? So we had a chance to listen to the episode, and in that episode he basically brings up that you have I think it's 4 people signed to their likeness and their trademark, right? And
I actually have more than that. I actually have more wrestlers signed, but who's counting?
Yes,
right.
Yes,
and when you say sign, that means likeness, trademark, right?
Well, I have actually signed the talent to be on the toy line.
Okay.
Got
Basically.
it. So I know things are different in Asia, right? In a different country. We're in a different country. I
Right.
know things work differently in different countries.
Right.
So we had Kanik on before. I know you were watching from the waiting room and stuff. But
Right.
we asked him like, hey, what's the difference between a trademark and a license? Like, and he basically
Right.
explained it, and he said, listen, if you have a trademark, you can't just make a figure of anybody without their license, right? So
Right.
there, everybody, not everybody, obviously, but there's a lot of people that are angry because they feel like the two figures, the Calhoun figure,
Yeah.
and the La Conquistadors figure,
Right.
that you only have their trademark and that you made their figure without having their likeness. And they feel like that is wrong. And I know we spoke about this before you came on,
Right.
and you've been nothing but honest to me ever since we known each other. You've never
Right.
bullshitted me. You've
Mm.
never ever said anything bad or did anything harmful to me. So
Right.
I just want to know, what was your thinking when you put out these figures? I'm gonna give you the platform to explain yourself.
Okay. No matter what, no matter how I'm going to mention this, it will come out sounding really wrong because you know there's already you know people mention that in place. But um, I will say this, okay? And number one, I was never thinking of screwing wrestlers out of the money. And if anything, every single offer that I was giving out to the wrestlers, could match anyone offering the deals right now in the market. Let me just make that very clear. Okay. Now, as far as Haystacks, Calhoun, and Los Conquistadors concerned, it was when I filed the trademark, I had the intention of eventually giving it back to them. And the thing was that when I filed it, it was around the time that um that I felt that, okay, you know what, they were opened and they were not filed in anywhere, not even the US, believe it or not.
Got it. That's what I was gonna ask. Is it just
Yeah.
the US? So you own the trademarks in the US as well?
No, no, I
No.
own the
Okay.
trademarks in China right now.
Okay. Got it.
But but the thing was that, the and that was my backward thinking, and I probably was a little bit naive to think that, was that, let me get the figures out first so they can see it and they can contact me, because I had no way of contacting them. I
And
mean,
yep. Yep.
I'm in China. I mean, most of the wrestlers that I can contact, they are mostly the wrestlers that tour in Japan, where I may go and I meet. And for these, especially Haystacks Calhoun, like finding the estate is extremely hard.
So are you legally, because you own the trademark, are you legally allowed to put the figures out?
Okay, so that's what, after I've consulted the lawyers in China, and that's what they told me. In the trademark phase, right, there are two different phases. One's the preliminary phase, and the other one is the final phase. So the two different approvals. Usually, once you pass the preliminary approval, you pretty much can use the trademark, and to design toys, or make some sort of branding with it. Now, obviously, the design has to be, if you do it properly, you will have to have the rights, make the rights of that. So, go through the whole office again and the whole nine yards. And that's what we were doing in China. But the plan was in hope that we could get we could get maybe Haystacks estate can see it. And I didn't know until last night that Haystack's daughter was actually mentally challenged, and I didn't know that, and I absolutely didn't know that at all. We after what has happened, after we've pulled out the two figures, quite a lot of people contacted me.
Well, okay, well, time out for a second here.
Okay.
If you're legally allowed, because of the trademark in China, if you're legally allowed to make the figures, you only pulled back because the people are upset that they feel like you're making money on the estates that should be making money on because you didn't sign a deal with them?
It wasn't even that. It wasn't even that.
So why pull back the figures then, I guess?
Okay. Number one to me was, and after talking to the distributor as well, we felt it would be best. Because at the time I thought it was going to be okay because everything that we're doing was basically going by the book, so to speak.
Right.
But then I realized, like, okay, you know what? There's this group of people that and I'm not the type of person that really wants to go on conflict. We got too many conflict right now in the scene.
People feel like it's a slimy move because you did it kind of behind the wrestler's back. You did it legally, but they feel like it's a slimy move. So then my question, I guess, is why not, to your point, if your initial plan was to contact Calhoun or the Conquistadors or whatever, can you still do that and put out the figures and everybody's happy? You make your figures, they make some money on it?
Yeah. That's exactly what we're doing right now. Right. And after we have pulled out the figures from Series 1, there are and we want to do it right, and that's why we pulled them. And we are making initial contact with one of the three entities right now.
Got it.
And we have begun talks. I've shown Shawnee the conversation, I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But we are working on it. And that's how I found out about Haystack's daughter as well.
I had no idea about Haystack's daughter as well.
No one knows. No one knows. One of my friend basically took about 8 hours to look for all the information possible
on Haystack.
Yeah, on Haystack, because
now are these the only two? You have a lot of wrestlers signed, as you said. This is the only two, Calhoun and then the Conquistadors, the only two that all you have is trademarked?
Yeah. And everyone else is signed to a deal.
Yeah. So Kamala's
every single one we have announced is signed to a deal.
Got it. So Kamala's estate will get paid, right? All that good stuff. Yes. Got it. So I just want to see, because I know so Matt had posted like I guess a screenshot of, I don't know if it was your text or something, but in the text you say, I trademarked mine in China, so if Haystacks and Los Conquistadors want to sue me, they will have to sue me in China court, which will, all the documentation would have to be translated from the Chinese consul, blah blah blah, and they'll need a Chinese lawyer to do so. But you wrote that, but you didn't go that route, which you technically could have, right? So
and I'm not doing that. And I should have said hypothetically, number one, because I kept thinking back of who I was talking to about that, and I believe that's what it was. Now, don't quote me on this, because I'm sure I probably I've talked to a few people about this situation, and what I was, from the back of my head, if I remember, it was that what if Haystack and Conquistador sue you? Was the question.
Got it.
And
Got it.
so, I was just basically answering
What would happen from that point?
what would happen. Now,
So
it was never my intention of like, let's do this and just
put it out.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't that. I was actually really hoping they would see it and actually contact me.
So we
But
spoke
you
about
did understand how people
how that
would,
looks. Yeah. Yeah.
how
Right.
people would have an issue with it, and then
And that was me being naive. And I have to be the first to admit that was me being naive. And I really thought about that whole thing yesterday. I was thinking, maybe I should have gone a different route.
So for me, who doesn't know anything about this, and I'm reading about it in the group and hearing from you now, I look at it and say, in my mind, and I'm guessing what you did here, maybe you looked for wrestlers' trademarks, saw that those two were available, just bought them as a smart business move, and then worried about the rest later. Is that fair, or was that different?
I wouldn't say worry about that later. I was more or less hoping that they would see it.
But more like it's only those two, which to me would mean that those two were available. Were there any wrestlers' trademarks available that you didn't buy?
Well, you know what? Here's the funny thing. I was talking to Rene Dupree. And Rene has been a friend of mine for years as well. And I don't mind breaking it here that I've signed Rene to a deal as well.
Nice.
Awesome.
But I'm not going to do anything on that until I have one of his former tag team partners signed. Now, the reason for that is, which goes back to the trademark thing, and Rene had no idea that La Resistance was never trademarked by WWE.
Wow.
And not until I told him. I said, he was like, "Oh, this is trademarked by WWE." I said, "No, it's not."
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
And he was like,
Zach,
"Oh, really?"
It's funny because Zack Ryder, right? It just went up, and Matt found out, and he filed for it. And then what happened was WWE had stepped in, and Matt was like, "Hey, I just don't want to give them issues because it could cause me problems down the line." But obviously, I say that to say this: the WWE has a long line of letting them lapse and then putting pressure on the person once they see that it lapsed. So I'm surprised it's so easy, to be honest.
I mean, there are a lot of trademarks that were never filed, believe it or not. And it's all public records if you just look.
It is. Yep.
So I just happen to be the one that looked at it. And is it a good move or bad move? I don't know. All I'm saying is that
it's a smart business move, but it's probably a shitty thing to do human wise, right? I guess. I mean, that's what people. It just doesn't seem like it's ethical. Is the word?
That's the problem that people are having with it, right? But and I understand that. I get why they feel that way, because, and like I said, we know a lot of wrestlers, right? Like we speak to them beyond the wrestler level, right? So I was explaining this to somebody, and I said, I know why you're so upset, because if you pass away and you have your trademark, let's say, goes and it goes away, all that time and energy you put into building that character, and if somebody makes a figure and doesn't give that money to your estate, obviously that is a fucked up situation, right? And to me, it's just, the plan is, that's why we got you on here, right? Is the plan is to, how do we fix it? Because I truly don't think, yes, it was fucked up, but I don't think you meant it in a malicious way, And
I never had. As I said, the plan was to make them first so they notice, because as I've said it before, that I didn't have access to 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 any one of these wrestlers. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
even to at this point, I'll say that I have a minus source that my friend has found after 8 hours last night of really digging deep, searching and everything,
Got it.
that I ended up speaking to that source on the phone.
Got it.
Like I called internationally, I
For who?
called over there and we spoke.
This is for Haystacks or the Conquistadors?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, Haystacks. And the thing was that's how I found out about the illness of his daughter.
Got it.
I mean it's something that practically no one knows.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm
What-
sure nobody
yeah.
knows.
What about
it. Yeah.
what about
Because
the
because
Conquistadors?
like nobody knew anything about Haystacks, after his passing.
Got it.
I even contacted Mike Mooneyham and I asked, and Mike Mooneyham was like, I got nothing. So, and you're
You've
talking
tried
about
prior to this stuff coming up in the group. You've tried in recent years to get in touch with
yes, I have. Yes.
or Conquistadors, both.
Yes, I have. And I didn't even know that, maybe I somehow I missed it. I don't know. But, I didn't know that Conquistador had a Facebook account until yesterday.
Oh, are they still alive?
Both of them are, in fact.
So that
Yeah.
should be an easy fix, right? You know what I mean?
Well, at this point in time, we are talking.
Okay.
We are talking, and
Okay.
Are they
that's
pissed off?
that's the only thing that I can leave it at this point. We are talking, and
They're not pissed off at you.
And I have made sure, and I've told the Conquistadors that the toys will not be released, unless they agree to the deal. So, they're fully aware of it. I would say one of the Conquistadors actually liked the figures.
Wow.
They're great figures. What's not to like? Who the hell's gonna make a figure, Conquistadors figure?
Were they, what, like Sal said, were they upset a little bit, or like how did they react?
I don't think they were. I think they were. I think Conquistador, at least the one that I talked to, was happy.
Because they never got figures
see.
made of them, right? Like, so
As far as I saw, I think they were happy.
okay.
From the conversation, you saw the conversation. He doesn't seem angry.
Yeah.
He even said we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, I saw it, so I could say I could say this is true. So my thing about this, Shawn, was like I wanted to, me and Sal both, like I said, I know Shawn personally, so I would like to have him on the show because I wanted to dig deeper, because when you say listen, I don't think anything that Cardona and the pod did was wrong. I think that that's their job, like
right.
to comment on these things. But I just would like it, like I saw a text message with Cardona, and you wrote back to him, you said, well, your friend, meaning Zombie, didn't have the trademarks for when he was doing pins of wrestlers that weren't getting paid on them. So I actually agree with that 100%, because we know he didn't have those trademarks to make those pins. So I agree with a lot of what's going on, and I think that we are at a good place because you are doing what's necessary to fix it, and I am definitely going to be a buyer of these toys.
Appreciate that.
It hasn't stopped me, but the reason why I'm going to be a buyer, Shawn, is because you're making it right. Because obviously, if you wouldn't make it right, then that's a different story, because then it's like saying fuck you to the families, right? But
right.
And I can tell you, at least 10 people are helping me to reach out to the estate. There are some in the UK, there are some in the US that once they saw the statement that I made, they go, you know what, let me help you out.
Got
I
it.
may
And,
know
and
I may know
legally,
somebody through somebody through somebody. I
legally,
said if it's
you don't have to do that.
yeah, they didn't have to do that. And I said, look,
No,
if
you
there's too
don't.
much
I'm saying.
hassle,
I'm saying legally you don't. Now you're doing the right thing, and it's a good thing because you don't want to be scummy or slimy or
right?
unethical.
And that
But
was never
legally,
my intention.
I know, but I'm just saying legally you don't have to do
Yeah,
this. You are
yeah.
doing it.
Legally, you don't have to
Right,
because there's a loophole. Where you are, there's a loophole, right?
right,
But you're doing it because you understand that. Hey, and listen, people might see like they're gonna, people are gonna think what they're gonna think, right? But
right.
we did this because
I can't change that. Yeah,
you can't change
Correct.
that. I can't change that. Sal can't change that. But by hearing your side of the story, it's more than just a story now, right? It
right.
has because you being in China and reaching out to these people, they don't know you. So why would they sign a deal with you? So your
Right.
your naivety, right, was thinking
Yeah,
like, if I could show them how good this figure is gonna be, they will sign with me,
right.
So I think I also think that I don't care what people say, but there is a different culture in the U.S. than there is in Asia and in China, right?
Mm.
China is, a different animal, when it
Right.
comes to rights and all and laws. And like I said, I there's a lot of people that do shady shit that don't fix it, and those companies I don't support. But when I spoke to you after what happened, we had contacted right away after what
Right.
happened last night, and you said, Shawn, like, I'm working on it, I'm fixing it. Like,
Right.
this is something that I need to fix, and then Cardona released those messages, which I get. Those messages, they look very bad, they do, but
Right.
it was answering a question, from what you say, right? So it's all in perspective of everything's perspective, in my opinion, right? So
Yeah.
um, all I care about, literally all I care about, is that the families get taken care of,
Right.
because though their dads, their family tree, they worked for that money and the work
Right.
for that. And what sucks is Vince takes most of that from them all, right?
Right.
He has all of their trademarks and
You
all of
know
that
what? Here,
shit.
you know what? Now you're onto something because during the clown, okay, I don't think Ray Apollo got anything.
That's
I,
so that's what I heard as
I'm
well.
not sure
Yeah.
about Brooklyn Brawler. He probably was taken care of. I don't know,
Yep.
but there was the other one. What was his name? That was Doink. Yeah.
Matt
The
Bourne.
one that went. Matt Bourne. Yeah, that's
Matt
right.
Bourne. Yep.
I
Yep.
highly doubt that he got it.
Fuck you! I
Sal's
know
on
wrestling.
fire
I
today.
fucking know wrestling.
Sal is on fire. Sure, we always get ripped for not knowing our wrestling history, and Sal is on fire. He got like five.
No, you know what? You know what? I had it in my head. I was like,
Yeah.
see,
No,
here's the
I'm
thing.
here to help you.
I
I'm here
blame
to
for the
help you.
fact that I woke up too early this morning, and
Yep.
I haven't been having a lot of good night's sleep because basically, the whole thing about handling this whole line, from getting the distribution, signing wrestlers, and talking to distributors in different time zones.
When
That's
two quick ones for you, Shawn.
yeah.
When's the first figure coming out, and how much? Do you have a price point yet?
Well, now here's the thing. Because we took down conquistadors and haystacks, we have to go back to the drawing board with Mantar, PN News, and Yoshitatsu. And the funny thing was the initial planned lineup. Okay. And Shawn, you don't even know this. I didn't even tell you this.
Yeah. Yeah.
The initial plan for this was to do a legendary Big Man series, first series.
Oh, that would have been fucking epic.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, in the legendary Big Man series, 3 of the 4 figures that I initially planned are now in series 1. So Kamala, Mantar, and PN News were initially in series 1 anyway. but because the negotiation took longer, because I had to plan this out properly, and I blame myself for that, and eventually Mantar and PNU signed, so that was all good and smooth. But at the time I had Kamala, and you know what, and I'm really thankful for Kamala's estate, to really have their trust in me on this. When I said to Kenny Casanova, who was helping Kamala's family to handle all the licensing and things like that, because my cat is meowing. But yeah, he's like underneath there. He's been very clingy.
I have a cat
lately.
too. Yeah.
I have two, so yeah. But yeah, but anyway, because of they were really giving me the blessing to go ahead and do it, and they were like, just make sure you do the Memphis version as well.
Got it.
And I said, well, I'll do it. And somehow the Memphis version was the one that people don't like the most.
Got it.
and when people were saying, I don't know this is not Kamala.
Yep.
And I said, this is actually the debut version when he was in Memphis.
Yep.
And
wow, that's crazy.
I have had people that came to me and go, if that's going to be the exclusive, I don't want that.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And I said to them, you know what? This is what the family
wanted. Yeah. Yep.
And I'm going to do it right by the family.
Got it.
So, I put my foot down with that one, because not that I mean, it's there must be other versions that can draw a lot more money than this.
Yeah.
Well, do we have a price point yet on the figures, or no? Not yet.
Currently the plan right now, it's $35. Kamala may be more because of the amount of accessories that it gets.
Right. Yes.
Yes. So we're looking at roughly $35 plus whatever shipping, roughly.
Yeah. But there are there is a U.S. distributor, so the shipping will be way less for North America, and same thing for the UK, same thing for New Zealand, Australia. So and that's one thing that I've been working really hard on as well, because if I were to just ship all of these out from China, the shipping will be horrendous.
It would be incredible. Yeah, it would be terrible.
And you know that, Shawnee.
Yes, I know. Yes,
and the thing that you complained the most about is, damn, the shipping. I was like, did you get it in 2 weeks? Yes, you did, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. You gave me two prices, and one was like okay, but the other one was like, Shawn, like, I'll guarantee it in 2 weeks, and I was like, yep. I'll pay the extra 200 or whatever,
and it's not the fact that I want to charge you that much. It's that I really got no
that's
choice.
how much it was. Yeah. I get it completely.
So it's something that I thought, okay, you know what? If that's something that it needs to be done, then it has to be a collaboration across the board.
Yep, got it.
So it wouldn't be just me, and and I know for one thing the EU guys were saying, oh, the UK side, because after Brexit, the import tax it's crazy.
It's insane. Yeah.
They said it's even more than buying a figure from the US.
That's insane.
So they were like, oh, you need to find a distributor, and that was one thing that I've been scrambling the last couple of days.
Yep.
Trying to get a European distributor, and that way, the entire EU will benefit.
Yep.
And even like after this show, I'm going to talk to a potential Canadian distributor as well.
Got it.
So, then that way, I got a lot of people covered, that they can get a fair share, at a price that can be more affordable.
Got it.
So
we're all excited.
As I said before, I'm for collectors.
Yeah.
Always, I am a collector myself.
You are a collector. Yeah, that's what I was when you told me about the line a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I think I was like one of the first ones to know. You
Yeah.
were like, you confided in me, and I was like, I was so excited. I still am. I'm so excited, and that's why we have to run soon. But I just wanted to give you this platform to say, and I just want to let I just want to give you like the board here for the last minute or so, and I just want you to say anything you want to say to the fans, and then we'll head out.
Um, I want to publicly apologize that for anyone that really feel that I was doing whatever it is to like try to extort money or whatever. That wasn't my intention. And as I said, I guess I was being very naive. At the same time, I'm trying to do everything right, and I'm trying to make it right, and I hope that by doing that, I mean, obviously I cannot control what everybody thinks, but we will make it right by the estate of Haystack Calhoun and also the Lost Conquistadors. That I can promise.
That's awesome, Shawn, and
Thank you, Shawn.
we're looking forward to
Thank
it,
you.
and we wish you nothing but the best, man. Thanks for coming
you very
on.
much.
Thank you for spending your time with us, man.
Thank you.
Have a great day, Shawn.
Thank you.
Later, man.
Good luck, Shawn.
All
right, so just you can pick it up and wrap
yeah,
up real quick.
Yeah, so I thought that was a great interview. I didn't want to just like I feel like Sal, I feel like a lot of times, and it's a good thing, but sometimes it's a bad thing when you just go right into it. And like I think some people might feel hostile towards it, but I felt like this was a really good interview, honestly. And I feel if I felt like Shawn was doing it purposely, I wouldn't have had him on.
I got to be honest with you though, and I like that he's doing the right thing, and I'm all in on the figures, and I don't really think that his intentions were to screw anybody over, but my gut is telling me that he saw an opportunity with a bunch of trademarks that were available. As a businessman, jumped on that opportunity. It was kind of clear where if a trademark's available, maybe somebody he would be interested in to go out there and buy it or whatever, own it. And now you've got power in that situation. He's got legal rights, which does kind of force the hand of the talent.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, since you own the trademark,
what are they going to do?
Got it. So he's told me before that it's very hard being in another country to try to get talent, right? So and honestly, like you said, like as a business move, it was smart, right? Because like that was his way to get in there, right? Like to get in and be like, hey, look at me, look at my figure. So like on one side, it's like I appreciate the hustle, but it's like on the other side, it's like I just wish the families would have been notified, right? So,
ahead of time.
Yes, ahead of like what.
But he does have other talent. It's not like this is just, and we don't know. And also, we don't know what the inner workings are of any other of these companies out there.
We don't know. That's the thing. We don't know what goes on in these companies, right? Like we don't know who they have signed and what they do. And
well, you said, or you guys were talking about before with Zombie not having the trademark to the pins. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about, but I mean,
when Zombie made pins before he was big, right? Those weren't trademarked, bro. You know what I mean? He didn't pay the wrestlers on those pins. From what I know, I could be wrong, but
I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to just spew that without the facts, but
yeah, but I mean, it's pretty sure facts. Yeah, it's pretty sure that it's facts. It's well known.
Well, if he did that, then what's the difference between that if he's making money off of it?
That's my thing, right? Like what Shawn did was wrong, but Zombie did the same thing when he was on the come up, right? So
that doesn't make right. It doesn't make
it right? But it just shows like you see Zombie like making jokes about that situation and stuff. And
Shawn, I'm sorry, Shawnee. I do think Shawn was remorseful.
I do think so too. I do think so. And I just don't want anybody, like, you know how much work that goes into that line, and you know how many like days this guy's probably spent up, like Kanik has, right? Like where he's worked on this figure and he wants to get these figures out. Yes, I'm sure to make money, but he's also a collector like us, and he enjoys bringing that. Like, you see how happy he got when he was like, I made a conquistadors, and like that they never had a figure, but I was able to make them a figure, and they loved it. And like, you could see the joy in his face when he said that, and that told me that, like, what he should have done, and what I think that he's regretting now, he should have made one sample, and he should have went to them, and he should have said, hey, I own the trademark. I would love to pay you to put out a figure of you guys.
Correct. And that's why people have an issue, because
and that's why people have an issue. And I get it.
He did know better. And I know he's remorseful, which I think helps the situation.
For
and
sure.
He's trying to make it right, which helps. But initially, he didn't do the ethical thing. That's why people have an issue.
Yes. And like I said, you're 100% right. Anybody's right to feel that way. But the fact that he's fixing it, to me, that's the bottom line to me, right? Because in the end of the day, will Haystacks Calhoun, will his family ever get money from a figure if he doesn't do it? Who knows? So now this opens up an opportunity, right or not, whenever it happened, it's still gonna happen for their family, right? So I appreciate that, and that's it. I thought it was a great interview. Really, I thought even the Kanik 30 minutes, I thought it was great. And
we need to have Kanik on again, or Kanik on again at some point, and go a full hour plus with him
for sure.
Even just talk other collecting, not just the bendies or the pod or whatever. But
the reason why we had him on, guys, is because we wanted to kind of give you the perspective of a United States contract, and and show you the
for a guy who's running a business the right way and knows what he's doing.
Yes, and who has done it before, right? Like, this is new to Shawn as well, right? So, like, running a business, it's tough. It's never easy, and when you're doing it from another country, it's probably even tougher.
Shawnee, if you don't fucking rap soon, I am never doing this pod. I'm about to piss myself.
All right, guys, we love you.
I got radio shows, TV shows. You keep me 2 hours and 12 minutes.
Hey, Sal, shut up.